Shabbat Shalom. I'm Jim Kaplan. I'm pleased to lead worship tonight as Shaliach Tzibur, an emissary of the congregation. I'm joined by Leslie Zucker, our music director, by Susie Adams on piano, by Harris Deutsch, our reed section, and by Howard Pittler, our rhythm section, and by our technical team. Thank you to the Beyond Our Walls BOW committee for keeping us connected, and to our digital docents for managing the streaming of our worship online. We're looking for more digital docents. If this sounds like a mitzvah that would interest you, please contact the office for more information. As a reminder, our online PDF contains the complete Friday night service. The page numbers we will read are at the bottom of each page. And for those of us here tonight, the prayer pages I call are the page numbers in the blue in the brackets. And respecting our atmosphere of worship, please silence your potentially noisy electronic devices. I would like to invite Carol Duchek up to join us in lighting the candles, Shabbat candles. As she comes up, we join together in reading from the top of page 121. Page 121. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. The blessing for candle lighting is on page 120.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. On page 130, we join in singing the first two lines of Psalm 95, which begins, "Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai."
It will in just a sec.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, nekad lafana b'todah. Naria, naria, litzur yishenu, bizmirat naria lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai.
We greet Shabbat on page 138 with Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9.
Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei penei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei penei Shabbat nekabala. La 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 lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei penei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei penei Shabbat nekabala. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hameyechad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem ol tiferet v'litchila, la 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 la. Likrat likrat kala, b'nei penei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat likrat kala, b'nei penei Shabbat nekabala.
מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לה 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 לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני פני שבת נקבלה. לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
התעוררי, כי ויורך קומי אורי, אורי שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה, לה 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 לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. אורי ושלום, עצרת בעלה, דם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני ים סגולה. בואי כלה, לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לחברתי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew our days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Noam Katz, the composer of the melody for our next prayer, was reportedly inspired by a midrash. This prayer evokes the mood of Adam's first night on earth, alone in the Garden of Eden. As the sun began to descend from the sky, Adam feared that it would never rise again and that he would be relegated to a lifetime of darkness. He then slept until the first gleam of daybreak emerged from the horizon. The light had returned. Adam realized that this would be the way of God's world, the passing of time, the seamless flow of life's cycles, of light into dark and darkness back into light. We'll sing Roll into Dark and then the Baruch Hu on page 146.
Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into night, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night.
Ya la la la.
Ya la la la,
Ya la 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 la.
ya la 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 la.
Ya la 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 la.
Ya la 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 la.
Baruch Hu,
Baruch Hu,
et Adonai.
et Adonai.
Amen.
page 151. As you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
shall teach them diligently unto your children. And you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand. They shall be a symbol between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi Chamocha, page 158.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora oseh,
asher Miriam. Ze Elianu ve'amaru. Ze Elianu ve'amaru. Adonai yimloch le'olam vayed. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la la la. Ya la la la, ya la la, ya la. Page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, בברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל עודי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש. שבת שבת ויהי נפש. שבת שבת ויהי נפש. שבת שבת ויהי נפש. Na 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 Adonai. Na 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 svatai tiftach. Na 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 ufi yagid tehilatecha. Na 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 Adonai.
na svatai tiftach. Na ufi yagid tehilatecha. Na Adonai. Na svatai tiftach. Na ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imaot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei metim atah rav l'hoshiach, ma'ashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, mechalkel chayim bechesed, mechayei metim berachamim rabim, tzomech noflim v'rofeh cholim, u'matir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha bal gevurot umido melach. Melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua. V'neman atal hachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai. Mechayei ha-metim. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yihalu ha'sela.
Baruch
Atah Adonai, ha'el ha'kadosh. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find feeling on this day. And may all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ever-present One, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer, wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odecha levadcha be'yira na'avod. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha u'lecha na'eh lahodot. We continue reading silently to page 180, adding the prayers that are in our hearts. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated. tasim leolam. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rama Yisrael Amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. The Mishabach prayer asks for healing. You'll find a list of some who need our prayers of healing, be it emotional, spiritual, or physical, in the e-news that you received this morning. The list is also linked in the comments section. If you have additional names to add, please type them in the comments section online so we may include them in our prayers. For those here with us, we offer an opportunity to identify others who may need our prayers. The words to the Mishaberach are on page 371. We offer a prayer for those with addiction and mental health struggles. May the one who blessed our ancestors bring blessings of strength, compassion, and healing to those of us who struggle with the oppression of addiction, emotional distress, and mental suffering. Surround them with loving kindness, grace, and companionship, and bring them peace.
With the full
It's now time for our Simcha moment. Please, if you are so moved, share a special Simcha, a joy from the past week online, by typing your Simcha in the comments line. It may include a birthday, an anniversary, good news, and accomplishments of any kind. Please share a few words and press return. For those of you who are here in person, we invite you to join us here at the Simcha mic. We ask that you come up one person or pod at a time. Please don't congregate and please refrain from touching the microphone. It's very sensitive about that. When you have shared your name and Simcha, please stay up for a blessing. Thank you.
Well, it feels like it's been a long time as I've been sick. But I have one very good thing to tell you. I took a class in how to make latkes. And I want you to know this is a secret that I had never heard of before, and it works. So you put a ½ inch or so of oil in the pan, and then before you put anything else in, you scrub some carrots. You can leave the peel on. You scrub them real good, and you stick them in there, and they will attract all the little black pieces that fly around, and they will keep your oil from smoking. And then after you finish making your latkes, your oil, same oil, you never had to add anything to it, and it's clear. So this is a wonderful tip. Now, the other thing I have to tell you is that the CBT Arts and Crafts Group is having one last meeting on Monday, and it's not to do crafts, it's to have snacks. And you can tell that the group was just not big enough, because I didn't get anybody who said they would come and have snacks. So if any of you want to come, we're going to be at the Logan Library from 11:30 to 1:30 on Monday, the 12th, and there will be snacks.
Hi, I'm Howard, and today is my oldest grandson's 11th birthday. And we went out to lunch with him. He's having a sleepover tonight, and then we'll get together again for another party tomorrow. Party all weekend. Yay.
So, a man goes to his rabbi and says, all my life I've heard so much about how the Talmud says this and the Talmud says that, yet I've never studied Talmud myself. Can you teach me how to study Talmud? The rabbi reflected and answered, to study Talmud is not just any kind of study. Let me ask you a few questions, and we'll see if you're in the frame of mind to study. Imagine this, said the rabbi. 2 men come down a chimney. One comes out clean, and the other comes out dirty. Which one washes himself? The man answered, it's obvious. The dirty man washes himself. The rabbi said, wait, I'm not so sure. You say the dirty would wash himself, but when the dirty man looks at the clean man, he would assume that he is also clean. When the clean man looks at the dirty man, he would assume that he is dirty, and so the clean man would go to wash himself. And before the man had time to respond, the rabbi said, let me ask you another question. 2 men come down a chimney. One comes out clean and the other comes out dirty. Which one washes himself? The man answered, Rabbi, you just told me. The clean one looks at the dirty one, and he goes over and he washes himself. The rabbi responded, well, I'm not so sure. Let's think about this. If 2 men go over to the wash basin and there's a mirror, the clean one sees he's clean, the dirty one sees he's dirty, and the dirty one would wash himself. The man gave the rabbi a puzzled look. The rabbi then said, let me ask you another question. Don't lead me. Two men came down a chimney. One comes out clean and the other comes out dirty. So which one washes himself? The man looked at the rabbi. Rabbi, I'm confused. First it was one way, then it was the other way. I don't know what to answer. The rabbi said, perhaps you don't yet have the right frame of mind to study Talmud. What you should have answered is, how is it possible that 2 men could come down a chimney and one comes out clean and the other comes out dirty?
That was my question from the very beginning.
In telling this story, Rabbi Robert Fine, formerly of Congregation Bet Torah in New Jersey, teaches that the Jewish method of studying, values a good question more than a good answer. It's only once that we are sure that we're asking the right question that it's worth our effort to try to answer them. Thank you to those of you who shared your joys with us tonight. You've raised the happiness of all members of the CBT community. In honor of your events, we offer this prayer. Divine source of blessing, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we join in the happiness of all those who mark the varied simchas and blessings they have shared. Adonai be with them now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness, now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring our sacred community, we join together in song as we mark this sacred occasion. Story.
That is a great story.
This week, we will read from Parshat Vayishlach. In this Parsha, Yaakov, or Jacob, wrestles an adversary at night and receives the name Yisrael. Hence, we get our names as the children of Israel. The principles involved in this struggle define the essentials of what it means to be a Jew. As background, you may recall from Parshat Toldot a couple of weeks ago that 22 years before the events in Parsha Vayishlach, Jacob and Esau parted. Rebekah sent Jacob to her brother Laban's place in Haran. Esau warned that the next time he would see Jacob, he would kill him. Jacob has been at Laban's now for 22 years and decides it's time to go back to his original home in Canaan. But he has to pass Edom to get there, and Edom is where Esau has settled. The night before his potential encounter with his brother Esau, Jacob sent his wives and family and servants to safety, and then he slept by the river Jabbok, and during the night, as he dreamed, he fought against an adversary. Now, scholars have several theories about who the identity of Haish is, the being who becomes Jacob's adversary. The Torah just calls him a man. The prophet Hosea was certain that this was an angel. Some scholars, including Rashi, concluded that the adversary was Samael, the guardian angel of Jacob's brother Esau, who was an evil force. The battle was then Jacob versus Esau, or good versus evil. When Jacob wins, he becomes Yisrael, a man who struggled with God. Now, Jacob himself was convinced that his adversary was God, calling the place Peniel, the face of God, and saying, "It's because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." To understand this battle, Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks suggests that we must view this event in the context of Jacob's entire life. Jacob was born second, holding his twin brother Esau's heel. He bought Esau's birthright, albeit deceitfully. When his blind father Isaac asked who he was for a parental blessing, he said, "I'm Esau, your firstborn," and thereby he stole Esau's blessing from Isaac. Rabbi Sacks concludes, Jacob wanted to be Esau. Why would Jacob want to be Esau instead of taking pride in his own traits? Because Esau was his cool big brother. Esau was older. Esau was strong, more physically mature than Jacob, a hunter, and especially envied because Esau was Dad's favorite. We read that Isaac, who had a taste for wild game, loved Esau, but Rebekah loved Jacob. French literary theorist René Girard called Jacob's deceitful behavior the product of mimetic desire, which occurs when we want something that someone else has, because we want to be that someone. When Jacob impersonated Esau and stole his birthright, that was the final straw, and Esau vowed to kill Jacob as soon as Isaac dies. In this week's Parsha, we read that Jacob was afraid and distressed. Clearly, Jacob's fear and distress are strong emotions, but a midrash gives commentary on the significance of these two different words. Rabbi Bar Eli teaches that Jacob was afraid that he might be killed, but he was distressed that he might kill. Jacob had physical anxiety, fear, that Esau might kill him, but he also had moral qualms, causing distress that he might kill Esau. Jacob faced a moral dilemma. Now, a moral principle has only one outcome. It's an element of moral code accepted as truth. But a moral dilemma does not really have a right answer. In this example, I should not do A, allow myself to be killed, and I should not do B, kill someone else, but I must choose one of them. No wonder Jacob felt fear and distress. The Torah teaches that Judaism recognizes the existence of moral dilemmas. Even when halachic law defines which of the two principles takes priority, there's still unavoidable moral anxiety involved. During the night of his travels, which will lead to seeing his brother and potentially facing his brother's troops, Jacob throws off the image of Esau that he has carried as the person he wants to be. Shedding his mimetic desire to be his brother and have the brother's traits and possessions, Jacob can then be at peace with himself. Shakespeare said, "Desiring this man's art and that man's scope, with what I most enjoy, I am contented least." We are to learn that contentment only comes when one's at peace with being oneself. Jacob went through the struggle for a cohesive principle that was his, not someone else's. We all go through this at some time. It's a persistent source of internal conflict, argues René Girard, to want to be someone else or to have what someone else has. This Torah Parsha teaches that it may be the struggle of our lifetime, or it may take a lifetime of struggle to learn to be who we are and to relinquish the desire to be who we never will be. Jacob is surrounded his whole life by conflict. He begins in conflict with Esau. He has a rough time living with Laban. He must moderate conflict between Rebekah and Leah, and he witnesses the conflict between his children, Joseph and his brothers. Jacob shows us that while there is conflict within us, there will be conflict around us. We need to resolve the tension within ourselves, whether we're a leader or a member of the community, before we can be helpful reducing the tensions in others around us. So this is how it goes for Jacob. After his wrestling match, he has a change in personality. He symbolically gives back Esau the blessing he took from him. The day before they meet, he gives back a physical representation of his blessing, sending hundreds of head of livestock to his brother. The day they meet, Jacob bows 7 times on approaching his brother and calls Esau my lord and himself your servant. When they meet, he says, "Please take my blessing that has been brought to you." In this potential clash, the brothers meet and ultimately leave each other in peace. People conflict. Each of us has different interests, desires, and temperaments. The answer to winning over internal conflict is to wrestle with yourself with the goal of knowing yourself, as did Jacob. One's personal goal is to avoid mimetic desire, wanting what someone else has or is. Instead, we should seek contentment with who we are and what we are. The Greek aphorism inscribed on the Temple of Delphi and quoted in many different ways is, "Know thyself." This may take some struggle, as it did for Jacob, but the sages remind us that no one is stronger than one who knows who and what he is. Finally, after his struggle and his fears and his distress, Jacob meets Esau. Esau looks at the gifts Jacob has sent and asks, who in Jacob's eyes is so worthy to deserve these gifts? Jacob answers that he sent them to Esau to gain favor in his eyes. Esau said, "Yesh li rav, I have much. Keep what is yours." Jacob answers, "V'chi yesh li kol, I have all except my gift." A Torah commentary from the 1600s, the Kli Yakar, points out that Esau claimed to have much, using a physical assessment of his wealth, and those who only see the physical will feel they never have enough. But after his self-revealing encounter, Jacob, who has now become Yisrael, realizes that he has it all. His spiritual needs are fulfilled, and he needs no more. In Pirkei Avot, Ben Zoma says, "Who is rich? The one who appreciates what he has." As children of Israel, we should be thankful for what we have. Ken Yehi Ratzon. The rabbis of the 14th century added the Aleinu to the closing of each worship service to end the service on a hopeful note. No matter what our days are like now, the best days still lie ahead. The Aleinu is on page 586 and 591. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol l'teit gedula le'otzeh breshit shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama Shalom Sam Elkeinu Kahem Vegor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam V'anachnu Korim U'mishtachavim U'modim Lifnei Melech Malchei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'hayadonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yiyadonai echad u'shemo echad. V'ne'emar v'hayadonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yiyadonai echad u'shemo echad. V'yom hahu yiyadonai Adonai echad u'shemo echad. V'yom hahu yiyadonai echad u'shemo echad. V'ne'emar v'hayadonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yiyadonai echad u'shemo echad.
Hasidic rabbis teach us that after an individual passes away, the deceased is judged for all the actions that they performed in their entire life. Each year then, on the anniversary of their death, they are again judged, and if their actions and their loved ones are having a good impact on the world, the deceased soul achieves loftier and loftier spiritual status. The Lubavitcher Rebbe wrote a letter to a family on the anniversary of their loved one's death. He wrote that there are two approaches to how to treat the anniversary. On the one hand, on the anniversary, the soul ascends to a higher level in the spiritual world, so it's a day of joy to the soul. On the other hand, here in the material world, the anniversary reminds us of the death and brings about sadness and feelings of sorrow. The Rebbe advised the family that this day should move us to try to align our lives with the course of the soul's life in the spiritual world, because as the soul rises every year, so too should the people associated with it advance in the virtues of Torah and mitzvot. We give a gift to the departed soul by our good deeds and acts. I'd like to give Judy Weingarten an opportunity to say a few words. And as she's coming up, last Yom Kippur, Rabbi Katapan described a new tradition that we would start at CBT. The Hebrew word zachor means to remember, and therefore the word azkara translates as memorial or commemoration. The Yiddish word yortzeit literally means year time. As we enter the yortzeit period for members of the CBT family who have passed away, we'd like to allow loved ones a chance to share a memory, visual, auditory, or emotional. There are many reasons for this tradition, and there are many beneficiaries of its observance.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I'm Judy Weingarten, and I'm here to tell you a bit about my father, David Kaufman. He died in December 2004, just 1 month shy of his 92nd birthday. He was a quiet and gentle man who somehow gave some people the impression that he was a bit gruff. It was only partly true. He had 2 younger brothers and 1 much younger sister. So in many ways, the fact that he had 2 daughters was for him like being dropped into a foreign country where he didn't speak the language. He was sometimes awkward with us when it came to the girly stuff, but he truly loved my sister and I, even when he couldn't exactly express it. When Brenda and I wanted something that we thought he wouldn't give in on, and he usually did give in, we would giggle and wiggle our little fingers. It meant we had him wrapped around our little fingers, and it was true. Nothing hurt him more than when someone hurt his girls. Once my sister and I were off to college, getting married, and having kids of our own, the awkwardness disappeared, and he was much more comfortable relating to us as adults. His loyalty to and love of his family was expressed in his continuing to make some of the dishes his mother used to make. He taught me how to make her special roasted peppers and the eggplant relish, which was an appetizer at almost every dinner at my grandmother's house. I still make those two dishes occasionally, not just because we like them, but to bring back that feeling of all the generations being together. And just one more food item. My daughters want me to mention that he and my mother enjoyed a dish of ice cream every night at 10 o'clock while they watched the news. For somehow they loved thinking about that. My dad had a few favorite expressions, and we often teased him when he used them again and again. The one that had the most poignancy and that was said more and more as my parents aged was, "We'll work it out." For me, it highlighted his patience. Whenever I think I must do something right away, I think about those words, and it slows me down and makes me think more carefully about the next right step to take. I was a senior citizen myself when my father died. He saw his grandchildren grow to adulthood. But I have this to say about the things that my parents missed in my life. I am glad that they missed COVID and the many recent sad events in my life. Their love and support would have been constant and unconditional. My husband spoke for the family at the funeral. He ended with this very apt description of my father. He was a marshmallow wrapped in sandpaper. I love you, Daddy, and we all miss you.
Thank you.
This week, we remember those laid to rest who are in the Shloshim period: Gary Goldberg, brother and brother-in-law of Ronnie and Larry Lerner, and those whose yortzites are this week: Ida Berkowitz, Connie Broughton, Faye Cooper, Giuseppe D'Angelo, Sam Eisberg, Francis Gilgis, Elizabeth Ann Gray, David Kaufman, Leopold Levy, Mary Nielsen, Sarah Ozar, Deborah Puzlowski, Harry Prager, Paul Reisbord, Jim Schmidt, Shirley Shipp, Doris Snyder, Sherman Steinzig, Milton Tate, and Bernard Zipper. If you are here to say Kaddish for someone whose name I did not read, please let me know their name so we may include it in our prayers. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Kaddish Yatom is on page 598. We stand as a community to support those in mourning. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei rabbah, v'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'galal v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavarach le'alam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'pa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya, l'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav,
Hu yaseh Aseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'imru We do have a few thank yous and announcements. Thank you again to Judith Weingarten for sharing her Azara reflection. I want to thank our musicians, Susie Adams, Harriet Stoich, and Howard Pittler, and the Shalom Squad that greeted you at the door, Scott Franklin, Betsy Wanger, and Ron Zipper, and those who had Friday night worship honors tonight, Carol Duchak and Barb Mendelson, who has hers yet to come up. Saturday worship honors will be Emily Albano, Margie Cooper, and Steve Cooper.
Our Shabbat celebrations continue in the morning with Sichat Shabbat, our Shabbat conversation in the library, and Shabbat morning worship right back here in the sanctuary. Sichat will be in person only. Shabbat services will be live streamed and in person.
Bring your Hanukkah questions to services next week for Ask the Rabbi. Yes, the Rabbi will be back. Hanukkah edition on December 16th and December 17th.
And Hanukkah itself is just over a week away. I don't really know how that happened, but it did. Please join us for a nightly candle lighting on all of our streaming platforms. That'll be at 6:30, December 18th through the 25th. And also, as you came in, you may have noticed there's a Hanukkah backdrop. Kind of, you walk in and it's over there when you walk in the door. And that will be up through the end of Hanukkah, or through Hanukkah Shabbat. Make a plan to come in. It's really lovely. And thank you to the Swinton Ginsburg family for donating that for some Hanukkah fun. If you want to take some family photos or just a photo of yourself, it'll be there.
All of this and more can be found on our website and public calendar. Please feel free to call us with any questions.
And after our closing song, we invite you to join us in the Ulam for Kiddush and Hamotzi and Oneg.
Our closing song will be Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu on page 657, although you probably can just do the words without the page. Oh, and it's on the slide as well.
You don't have to open your book if you don't want to.
So stand and rise and join us.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. 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 Shalom Aleinu, Odivo Shalom Aleinu, Odivo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Odivo Shalom Aleinu, Odivo Shalom Aleinu, Odivo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Salam Aleinu Ve'al Kulam, Salam, Salam, Salam. Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu, Ve'al Kulam. Shabbat Shalom. Take care of each other out there.